lecture, let us discuss about project scheduling, which is a process of defining the timeline for a software development project, outlining when tasks will be completed and how resources will be allocated. Effective scheduling is essential for ensuring timely delivery and managing stakeholder expectations. This type of schedule, it mainly identifies all major process framework activities and the product functions to which they are applied. And also specific software actions and tasks, they are identified and scheduled. Important concepts in project scheduling are: first one is compartmentalization. Breaking the project into smaller manageable parts or compartments is nothing but compartmentalization. So it facilitates easier management, allowing team to focus on specific areas without being overwhelmed by the entire project. Then second one is interdependency. Understanding how tasks are related and how the completion of one task affects the other is nothing but interdependency. Interdependency of each compartmentalized activity must be determined here, because some tasks may occur in sequence while other tasks they may occur in parallel. So first we need to understand how the tasks are related to each other. So identifying these dependencies, they help in sequencing tasks appropriately, which is crucial for maintaining project flow. Then team allocation, assigning specific time frames to each task based on estimated duration. Each task to be scheduled must be allocated some number of work units, which are nothing but person days or person days of effort. It ensures that all tasks are scheduled realistically, taking into account resource availability and workload. And the fourth one is effort validation, verifying that the estimated effort required for tasks is realistic and achievable. So every project has number of people, right? So as the time allocation occurs, you must ensure that no more than the allocated number of people has been scheduled at any given time. So this method, this effort validation, it reduces the risk of burnout and delays due to overestimation, leading to more accurate project timelines. And then defined responsibilities. So every task is scheduled, it should be assigned to a specific team member. So this establishes accountability, ensuring that team members know what is expected of them. And then defined outcomes, specifying what constitutes completion for each task, including expected deliverables or results. So every task is scheduled should have defined outcome. So if you take a software project, outcome, it is normally a work product, which is nothing but the design of a component or any part of the work product. And this defined outcome provides clear criteria for success and also facilitates evaluation of the progress. Then defined milestones, establishing key points or checkpoints in the project timeline that signify significant progress or completion of phases. So every task or group of tasks, they should be associated with a project milestone. So milestones, they serve as a critical markers for tracking progress and facilitating decision making. Then relationship between people and effort. So we can say that in a small software development project, a single person, he can analyze requirements, right? Person can analyze requirements, he can perform design, generate code and conduct testing. So if the size of this project increases, then obviously more number of people should be involved in the project, because single person, he can't manage the complete project, right? If the size is increasing. Usually this managers, they believe in a common myth, that is, if we fall behind schedule, we can always add more programmers and catch up later in the project. But unfortunately, adding people late in a project, it can have a disruptive effect on the project also. It causes schedules to slip even further. The people who are added, they must learn the system, and the people who teach them are the same people who are doing the work also. So while teaching, no work is done and the project falls further behind. So we can see that adding more number of programmers always speed up the process. And in addition to the time it takes to learn the system, more people increase the number of communication parts and the complexity of the communication throughout a project. The Putnam Norden Rayleigh curve provides an indication of the relationship between effort applied and delivery time for a software project. So you can see this in this figure. You can see a curve here which indicates the least cost for delivery. That is the time delivery time that will result in the least cost expended. And when we move towards this left side, you can see that the curve rises non-linearly. So we assume that the project team has estimated a level of effort ED that will be required to achieve a nominal delivery time TD. This much effort is needed in order to achieve delivery time TD. So that is optimal in terms of schedule and available resources. Although it is possible to accelerate delivery, the curve rises very sharply. So here you can see this curve which is rising very sharply to the left of this TD. And this PNR curve, so this we call it as a PNR curve, this complete one. So this curve indicates that the project delivery time cannot be compressed much beyond this 0.75 TD. So you can see, you can expand this only till this point. You can't go beyond that. So if we attempt to move further, then it moves into this impossible region. And the risk of failure, it becomes very high. Effort distribution, which refers to how work is allocated among tasks, team members, and phases of a project. Properly distributing effort is essential for optimizing resource usage, meeting deadlines, and achieving project goals. So, recommended distribution of effort is often referred to as 40-20-40 rule, which means 40% of all effort is allocated to front end analysis and design. Similar percentage is applied to the back end testing. You can correctly infer that coding 20% of effort is de emphasized. So, here 2 to 3% of the effort is applied to project planning, then 10 to 25 percentage of the effort is applied to customer communication and requirement analysis. So we are putting more effort on this because this is the key. This plays a crucial role in project development, communication, and analysis. And the effort applied on this analysis and prototyping, it depends on the project size and complexity. So it should increase in direct proportion with project size and complexity. Then 20 to 25 percentage of the effort is applied to software design, and also uh, we need to provide some effort for reviewing the design and also and for subsequent iteration. Because of the effort applied to software design, code should follow with relatively little difficulty. So for coding, we need to apply 15 to 20% of the overall effort, and also 30 to 40% effort should be applied to testing and debugging also. The criticality of the software often dictates the amount of testing that is required. If software is human related, even higher percentages are typical. So, based on how the testing is performed, we need to increase the percentage of effort for testing and debugging.